What's good? What's good with y'all? Looks like the audio was tripping. My microphone was trying to disconnect, but I think it's Tawab now. I think it's good right now. Yeah, I think it's good right now. Hey man, what's up with y'all, man? Another Sunday. Let me see in the chat real quick. What's good with you, Black Rain 303, Kalmaz Boff, Renee Gaines, Trooper, Anna Quadam. Hope I'm saying that right. What's good with y'all, man? Up in the building. It's a beautiful day today in Southern California, man. It's just so beautiful today. Great, excellent weather. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more. Yesterday, it was a nice day yesterday, but it didn't look as good as it looks today. Um, so I always start off by saying or asking, like, how was your Sunday evening going, Sunday afternoon going? How was going with you? Black Rain said, that's what's up. That's what's up. Everything is going good with me. Yesterday, I got the opportunity to meet Deontay Wilder, former heavyweight champion. And I got the opportunity to actually ask him some questions, and hopefully in the future, possibly I can get something going as far as like an interview or something like that. But I got to give a shout out to my bro, D Active, Darius Harris, who basically made that opportunity possible. It was definitely something that was it was cool. It was unexpected, and it was like the Lord just put you in places sometime where you just got to do your thing and perform and give you opportunities and doors can open, you know what I mean? And I asked him about Black people. Has he ever heard that Black people are the real Jews? And he said he had never heard that before. So, you know what I mean? At least I'm the first to plant the seed in his head to possibly even look it up and find out whether or not, you know what I'm saying, or find out the identity of his people and whether or not what I was saying was true. Renee said it's raining in Louisville, Kentucky. Dang, it was raining last week out here. It was raining last week. Crazy, you know what I mean? But yeah, I gotta line up, some things we want to talk about. Of course, want to talk about Big U, that whole situation, and other situations that have happened in this past few days, like back to back to back. Big U, Yellow Breezy, Sauce Walker. Talk about the pastor Rickey Floyd. A new video has come out, and the Black family. Some things, that conversations that people are having online, where it's getting tired. But maybe we should look at the past to see how did we even get here today, as far as the outlook on what a relationship is, and the man bringing home the bacon and 50-50. So I'm gonna get into that, get into some history. I got a book to bring out with some excellent insight into what was going on back in the days right after slavery, right after our people were freed and were on their own to make their own choices. So yeah, Black Rain said it's hot and sunny in Phoenix. Man, I bet it is. I bet it is. Hot and sunny in Phoenix, man. Shout out to everybody that's viewing the video, the live right now. If you could go ahead and like it right now. I got a few people in here that are not actually commenting, but I still appreciate you. All right. So first, I'm gonna play this video. This is a video I went over in class last Wednesday, but I want to bring it back up because it's very relevant. It's different. It's something that you rarely see. So I think it's important to bring light to this video that I came across about a week ago. All right.
Segregation.
100% disagree.
Dead and bring it back. I want to know where I'm not welcome. Okay. Put them signs back up. Colors only, whites only. Let's do it. All right. Rip the Band-Aid off. Especially for a restaurant. Are you kidding me? Whites only? What do I want to do in there? What they got? Mashed potatoes, mayonnaise, hot dogs. Colors only. We got seasoning, turmeric, Paprika.
Okay, I like this.
Okay.
You were saying that the black excellence.
Absolutely.
The segregation is to get
The colored excellence.
Okay.
Okay. What's the playlist in the whites only spot? They playing Carrie Underwood and Kid Rock. We playing Babyface and Diggable Planets. Ain't no overhead lighting. What are you talking about?
Wait, where am I going?
Colors.
Hell yeah.
Look at his hair. Talk about where am I going? That's the problem with North Africans.
That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. I'm in. 100% agree. Let's go.
Talk about where I'm going.
Oh, man. Yeah.
What happens to you in the summertime?
Where are we putting the Italians?
Listen.
I just want to know.
I don't need their food. I don't like tomatoes.
Okay, so they're going on the white side.
Black people spend over $1 trillion a year. I would love for the government to force us to spend it on our own people.
This is very good.
Yeah,
I like this a lot.
I brought you over to the side.
And the black airplane?
Oh, come on. The Soul Plane, baby.
I want to be on Soul Plane.
Yes, it's going to be noisy on there, but that's what noise cancellation headphones are for. You know what I'm saying?
And they're going to have all the good movies?
All the good movies, all the good music.
Oh, man.
And while we at it, bring back sundown towns. They never left, but...
What's that?
Well, a sundown town was back in the day during Jim Crow where black people weren't allowed to be in a town after the sunset.
Wow.
So those towns never left. They still exist in America, but they took the signs down. I want them to put the signs back up. I wanted to say 248 miles to the next town that likes colored people. Get your gas in Atlanta. Don't stop till you get to Savannah. All right?
I'm with her.
He with me.
Now, what this sister is saying is something that I echo. I say all the time. Something that I've realized when I came into the truth. Something that I've been taught. And the dynamics is very easy to understand when you look at the history of black people being segregated versus integrated. Now, this sister, she said it in a way, excuse me, she said it in a way where it's laughable. Like, yeah, let's bring back segregation. What do white people got? What do you got? Mayonnaise and raisin potato salad, and black people got seasoning. You know what I'm saying? Listen to the music you guys listen to versus the music we listen to. Sundown towns, like they still exist. And speaking of sundown towns, you know what I mean? Like, we can't forget what just happened with the twins, the brothers in Georgia, where their bodies were found in a sundown town. We can't forget about Javion McGee, where they said that he unalived himself, and that was in a historical sundown town. But the point is that segregation would actually protect black people. And she said something else that was heavy. She said the government making black people spend money only with black people. I mean, it's a genius idea, and maybe the word make might make somebody feel uncomfortable, like the government is making you spend money with your own race. But because we're such a destroyed people, we need something like that. We need something to realize, like, yeah, maybe if we come together, maybe if we spend money with one. We always talk about Black Wall Street, and we always talk about these places where they patronized, black businesses. Black people dealt with one another. The dollar circulated within the community. We always talk about that thing, but we don't do it. You know what I mean? You still see black people, they spend their money with Gucci and with, designer brands, and, these brands that are billion-dollar companies, whereas they overlook black people that have their businesses. And if the price don't seem right, we try to argue our own people down like it's too high. You know what I mean? I just bought a shirt from a brother. Let me tell you something. I just bought a shirt from a brother. I was at the gym the day before yesterday, and there was a brother in the gym getting his grind on. He had a cart full of shirts. And when you walk in the gym, sometimes you have people set up at tables and stuff where they're just trying to sell you something. And he happened to just have his own t-shirt brand. He was selling a shirt. And I told him, when I come out, I'm going to get a shirt. I didn't even care what the shirt said. I make shirts. I can make a shirt that just looks just like that, or, I ain't going to say it like that, but to my liking. But the fact that he was a brother in an area where you predominantly don't see too many brothers getting his grind on with confidence in himself, I'm going to support my people regardless. So when I came out, I bought the shirt. I said, how much the shirt? He said $30. I bought the shirt. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't about, I liked the shirt. I was feeling the shirt. I was feeling the fact that he was a black man doing something positive. doing something to stay out of trouble and not have to hit somebody upside the head to get some money. So I'm gonna support Black people wherever I see them, trying to do something better for themselves. I'm gonna circulate the dollar. The money that I make from my job, I'm gonna put it in a Black person's hands, if possible, whenever I get the opportunity. Let me see. Let me go to the comments real quick. Numi said, what he and she don't know is the original Italians were Black. That's true. Original Italians were Black Africans. My dad was stationed in Italy in World War II, and a Black Italian ran down the truth to him. He was treated like a king in Italy. Not only just Italy, but basically is what it was ancient, the areas of ancient Rome, and so Black people were all throughout that area, all throughout the areas of Greece, Rome, Europe period. When you look at the royalty of Europe in the medieval times, it was Black royalty, and that's why it's such a dilemma of who was there first. Because once white people started to intermarry and get into power, what they started to do was go back and try to repaint images and paint themselves in the history, when a lot of it still survives to this day. A lot of Russian icons, I bring that out all the time. All the Black images of Black people in ancient times still survive, because at one point in time, the whole world was Black. But I don't want to get off the point, but Black Rain said this. He said, all people in the beginning were of color. Dang, you just said what I just said. That's right. That's right. So at one point in time, everybody was Black. So yeah, when you say Greeks, the original Greeks, the ancient Greeks were a dark-skinned race. The ancient Greeks. But when you say that today, people automatically think of the people there today. I talked to the historian and photographer Chester Higgins, and in that conversation, I had to ask him about the people in Egypt today, in modern times, because today they say they're the Egyptians, when we know that the ancient Egyptians was a Black African race. They were a Hamitic African race. But now new people have moved into the land, and now these new people claim that they were these people, when we know that is BS. And then at one point in time, the white Europeans, Americans, were saying they were the Egyptians. They depict themselves as Egyptians with Cleopatra and all of them. But in the conversation, he was saying that at one point in time, that people that lived there, the Arabs, they didn't even care about Egypt like that. They didn't care about it until they realized that they can make money from tourism, and that's when they started to really care about the land that they were on and really fight for the land and claim it as theirs, when they seen the money that came from tourism and archaeology and digging up these mummies, and so these people are new people on the block that just moved into a land. Today in America, you look at America, right? Look at America. America was once dark-skinned, copper colored people, and now it is predominantly mostly European white people, but at one time it was native indigenous people. And so now they call themselves Americans, when the real Americans were the native indigenous people that were here first. All right. But what she's saying, let's get back, what this sister is saying, right? What she's saying about segregation. Now, when you think about the first historical Black colleges were built during segregation. When you think about all of those towns and those cities that were built during segregation, you can't really argue the point that we should go back to segregation, because we ain't been that great since the time of segregation. Like, Black people ain't did nothing really that great as far as institutional wise, as far on a big scale. I'm not saying Black people in it personally, individuals. I'm not saying that. I'm saying on a big scale, it was at a time we were doing these things when we knew that certain groups of people didn't want us around anyway. And it's like, you go sit down somewhere, you want to go sit down and eat. You thinking the grass is greener on the other side, and you want to go down and sit and eat over there. When this person doesn't even want you there, you got to really think about the psychology of that. It's like, You don't think they're gonna put nothing in your food? You really think they're gonna cook you a good meal? You know what I'm saying? Like, now I want to go where I'm wanted. I want to go where I walk in and somebody is warm and inviting and smiles at me and cooks me a good meal. That's where I want to go. I want to be around people I know that if I'm in a situation, they're not just going to walk by, they're going to have compassion on me. They're going to try to help me. You know what I mean? I want to know, put the signs up. Put the signs up that say no black people allowed here. Like she said, sundown towns. So you're in a town and you don't even know you're in a town in America that's supposed to be post-racial. That's supposed to be a place where they done got past race. You're in a town in America that once it gets dark, you're in danger of your life getting taken from people who don't want you there, but you have no clue. You just a passerby. You're just passing through somewhere. You want to stop at a gas station, get something to eat, not knowing this. No, put up the signs. Put up the signs so I know where I'm at. Matter of fact, if you don't like me, you don't like my people, let me know up front instead of being a closet racist. I would appreciate somebody up front just telling me to my face they don't like me. And that's respectful. You know what I'm saying? I can respect that. I can't respect the coward that acts like, smiles in your face and, acts as though you're welcome when they despise you and they don't even want you around. That's cowardly. But that's the energy we have been dealing with for forever. But what she's saying is the truth. Is like, bring it back. And I'm with her with that. And that's half the battle. Half the battle is understanding that we're so far gone that the only way that we can learn to love one another is in order for us to be with one another, be around one another continually for a long period of time and have to deal with one another and have to work things out and weed out even the bad people, the evil and wicked and criminals of our people, because we're not perfect. We got all of those. We got all of the elements that any other race has, but at least we'll know where we stand. At least we won't have to worry about our young sisters coming up missing, right? At least we won't have to worry about that. We won't have to worry about all of the things that we're suffering from. And just to add on to that, I was going to say this, but that's why I think what Donald Trump is doing is really good. It's great. The Department of Education, the tariffs. Now, as things start to get worse and get bad, that's going to force Black people to come together. That's why it's good, because it's going to force our people to start to think differently. It's going to force our people to start to see that a lot of things that we're on, a lot of mind state, a lot of, a lot of the ways we think are meaningless and they're futile. And we won't be able to survive this world as things get rougher and rougher and money gets tighter and tighter and resources get less and less and food gets short and short. Then you're going to really need your brothers and sisters. Then we're going to see, a change of mind and a change of heart. Let me see what Black Rain said. He said, Nubian King, you said all these towns and cities are sundown towns. We still being hung. Hey, man, you're right with that, brother. Right with that. It was like that when I was in Black Rain said it was like that when I was in Ukraine. Them and Russians will let you know if they like you or not. And that's respectful. At least you're not all up under some people and they like, look at this monkey. Look at this nigga. What do you think he gonna do? Get one of our girls? That's the energy. That's the energy they own. Malcolm X told us to separate from these demons. It's really the only big. It's really like if you look at other peoples in America, and they're separate. They're separate, although they're integrated, right? But they still have a separate mind state. They still will live together in the community. Like, they'll still move in the same area. They'll still worship their gods. They'll still do all those activities together. Now they'll go to work. They may have some, profession in society, something they got to do in society, a business or whatever. But at the end of the day, they're going back to their people. They're sending money back home to their people. But they're right here in America, just like everybody else. And you can, a good example would be like Asian people. Another good example would be Arab people. Another good example would be like Hindu people. They're right here in America, but for the most part, they don't even care about American politics. They up in here about business and taking care of their families, and that's it. That's all they care about. But with Black people, because we are like the homegrown slave, the child of white people in America, figuratively speaking, we feel like we have to be a part of everything that America got's going on. And it's just natural because we're raised up under this wicked tree called America. We were grown, homegrown. We're the grass up under this wicked tree. And so we feel like if somebody like me, somebody like you says we need to separate, the first thing that comes to a Black person mind is like, how are we going to survive? Who like electricity, water, they think like the white man cutting them off. You know what I mean? They don't actually believe like we could still be here and survive and not celebrate their holidays, not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, not agree with their societal views like LGBTQ. Like you can disagree on everything they do and just be here, go to work, be professional, treat people how you want to be treated, and then come back to your people and live a life totally separate from America, even though you're right here. All these other people doing it. They doing it right in your face and you don't even see it. You don't think that is happening. That's why you don't see all these other nationalities in the pop culture trying to be a part of the pop culture of America. Now you might have some individuals that are Asians, Hindu people, Arabs that are, they're trying to be cool and be down, but as a group of people, they don't even care about that stuff. They care about taking care of their families, getting money, sending it back home, the basic fundamentals of life. You know what I mean? Basic fundamentals of life. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. Now, if we was to even try to do what they're doing, people would say, what's wrong with you? Like, why y'all trying to, like, you know what? Y'all a hate group. Because why? Because we don't celebrate your holidays no more. We don't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. We don't believe in the things that y'all push on television. We don't believe in that stuff. But that's what will happen overnight. But we have to let go of that fear. And what Donald Trump is doing right now, as things get worse, are people going to be forced to start thinking differently and saying like, man, this is crazy. We got to figure out a way how we're gonna survive for real, because things is getting tight. Resources is getting short. You know what I mean? That's something to think about. But this sister right here, half the battle was already won. If you're a person that's already thinking like, okay, it's been what, 60 years since integration, brothers are still getting lynched. Actually, we have gotten worse because of integration. The Black community has actually gotten worse. Crime done went up. We have to depend on another people. So unemployment has virtually not changed since the 70s. So think about that. Now think about the family structure, the Black home. The Black home has been destroyed. Less and less men in the home, single parent homes, feminism, LGBTQ. These things have not benefited the Black community. It has not benefited the Black home. We have deteriorated since integration, since the civil rights movement. We have gotten worse, to be honest with you. The numbers don't lie. That's facts. We have gotten worse. And you would have thought we had, back then they probably thought we would have got better. Like Martin Luther King, in the end, he said he realized like that was the wrong decision. He said, I believe I have integrated my people into a burning house. But they don't play that soundbite. They don't play that Martin Luther King. They play the I have a dream speech to continue the cycle of Black people believing that one day little Black boys can hold hands with little white girls. When you have all of the signs that it has not worked, you have all of the signs right in your face. We have so many examples that integration hasn't worked. Brothers was getting, unalived by law enforcement, like they was getting unalived by the patty rollers. Like nothing has really worked, but we had got our society within our culture has deteriorated, and in the hatred, the self-hatred that we have for one another has grown, and that I'm gonna go into that. I'm gonna go into when I talk about Big U, and all of that street stuff. I'm gonna talk about that also, the self-hatred that we have. But let me get this next story. Matter of fact, while I was talking about the Black family, we have that conversation, right? Let me drop this. We have that conversation of 50-50. And it's a never-ending, infinite conversation of relationships right now. And the destruction of the Black family, and Black fathers are not in the home, and Black fathers should be doing this. Black mothers are raising monsters. They're raising the children are in the home with them, and these are the men that they are raising that they are complaining about. We talk about the daughters, the young women that are basically selling. They basically selling their, what they have, what they were born with online. And it's just an all around destruction of our people. Let me switch this. Just all around destruction, right? When you talk about the Black family and in that dynamic and what's going on with us, and it's real ugly. It's like you get tired of seeing it. You get tired of people talking about the same talking points, right? But it is what it is. It is what it is. But I have a book. This book right here. I'm gonna go into this book. This book is called, let me put it up. The Black Family in Slavery and Freedom from 1750 to 1925. This is by Herbert Gutman. This book I came about while I was researching Thomas Sowell. Anybody knows who Thomas Sowell is? He's a very articulate, very smart economist. He was a brother. I think his heyday was in the 60s. He's an elderly man now. Very smart. Most people would say that he's on that side, like a what you call it, like a Clarence Thomas or whatever. Very smart in his day when he was younger. But in this particular book, it goes into the history of our people, of Black people, right after slavery. It goes into, it's got tons of statistics. They were studying, families, how long our men and women stayed together. You know that Black men and women in slavery and out of slavery stayed together 50, 60 years married. If the man would pass away, the woman would never remarry. But I'm just saying, like, this actually shows you that the family was still intact until like the 1940s. The Black family, like Black people were more likely to have, Black children were more likely, how should I say this? 3 out of 5 Black children were more likely to have both parents in the household compared to white families. Like Black families were doing really, really good at a time when you think they were doing really, really bad. And it just shows you that slavery didn't necessarily just destroy the Black family. What actually happened is our people we're always looking at white people and copying them and trying to be like them. And like I said, the civil rights movement, once integration came, that really just did a number on our families. It did a number. But I'm gonna read a little bit. I want y'all to bear with me. I'm gonna read a little bit. It's going to be very interesting. Okay, let me see what Nubian King said. I feel religion has messed up Black people's minds. The Bible tells them to turn the other cheek. Now our people are turning their right cheek, left cheek, and butt cheeks to please their enemies. Now I will agree with you on religion, but I won't agree with you, Nubian King, on the Bible, because turn the other cheek is not about. That's a Christian idea. Turn the other cheek and allow somebody to hit, like allow somebody to hit you, and you just say, oh, well, you know, I'm gonna just be peaceful. Kind of like the thing that happened with Martin Luther King and them. Like they would go on these walks, right? These marches, and they would sick dogs on them and hit them with billy clubs and water. And they'll just be like, okay, we shall overcome, you know? That's what people really think turn the other cheek is. But turn the other cheek in as an Israelite is really, as a Black person, you're just forgiving a person. If a person has wronged you, you allow them, you, instead of going ham on them and just getting, you know, cutting them off, you'll give them a little bit of, you know, leeway and allow them to basically, you basically forgive them, right? It's not saying that you don't defend yourself. You don't, you know, you didn't let nobody hit you. You know what I'm saying? And you just say, oh, I forgive you. Nah, that's not how that works. It's more about having the forgiveness if somebody trespassed against you, like they did something wrong, they did something messed up, and you don't agree with it, and you ain't effing with them, and you cutting them off. And instead you see, okay, they come to you, they say, well, this is why it happened. I apologize, I messed up, and you give them another chance. That's turning the cheek. Turn the other cheek in Christianity is this. A good example of it is when Dylan Roof went into that church and he unalived those Black people. I remember this like it was yesterday. During one of them press conferences with the family, one of the family members said they forgive Dylan Roof. I said, hell nah. Even if it was another Black person, if you take the life of my family members in cold blood and callousness, I'm supposed to turn around and just say, I forgive you? Hell nah. But that's what Christianity pushes to Black people and say, make Black people be like, I got to be the bigger person. I have to be the bigger person. And because this is what I'm supposed to do. Nah, not here. Nah. So that's all that is. But let me see. Young man Kev, what's good with you? Let's see. Let me see where I'm at. Where was I at? Oh, so I wanted to get into this book, and I'm going to read a little bit, right? If you just popping in, this is the book I'm reading from. It's called The Black Family in Slavery and Freedom, 1750 to 1925 by Herbert Gutman. All right. You can see I bought this book used. You see right here, the corner is gone right there. But I bought this book used. I mean, it's an old book, right? But it's a book you should get. It gives you a lot of information. It's very tedious. And you can tell the way they put it together, they did their due diligence on the research. So I'm on page 166. It says, adult members of the old Watson slave community kept their families together successfully repudiated several harsh contracts and acted in other ways that showed how they interpreted their emancipation. So it's talking about how the slaves on this particular plantation, once they were free, how they interpreted their emancipation, being free. The women Watson complained to his daughter late in 1865 say that they never mean to do any more outdoor work, that white men support their wives, and they mean that their husbands shall support them. So this slave, he was a slave owner. Now he's complaining because they have to pay him. But the thing is, 1/3 of the slave workforce are the workforce. Now they're getting paid. 1/3 are women, and now the women are not working anymore because they feel like just like they should be treated like the white women, the mistresses that they saw. So they're not working. So he's complaining to his daughter about that. He says, the emancipation allowed the slaves to accept or reject practices and values they had been observing among their owners all their lives. So either slaves accepted what they were seeing the slave owners doing, how they live, or they rejected it. It says, in this case, the Watson ex-slaves adopted one practice and stuck to it. Months later, Watson again wrote, the female laborers are almost invariably idle. They do not go to the field, but desire to play the lady and be supported by their husbands like the white folks do. So the idea, I'm gonna get to it, but I'm sure y'all following along. The sisters was like, they're not working no more. They want to be like the white mistress. So they're going to stay at home while their husband, the black man, goes out and works the field. They're not going to work the field alongside him. Okay. Let me scoop down a little bit. It says that Watson's complaints about the unwillingness of ex-slave women to labor were not unique. A Louisiana planter instructed that rent be charged the non-working wives of ex-slaves. Theodore Wilson's examination of 1865 and 1866 plantation records convinced him that the greatest loss to the labor force resulted from the decision of growing numbers of Negro women to devote their time to their homes and children, an action which had the blessings of their husbands. So this was not just something that women were doing. This is something that the brothers, the ex-slave husbands, they gave them the blessing that, okay, you don't have to go to work with me, right? It says that it was a very general thing reported by the Southern Presbyterian Review in 1867. Last year, for the freedmen's wives not to be included in the contracts for the plantation labor. John DeForest, a Freedmen's Bureau officer in Greenville, South Carolina, noticed that the necessity kept many women at work, but though the families needing bureau aid had gone astern simply because the men alone were laboring to support their families. Now, it also goes on to tell you that the men, because of their pride, they felt though that they want to show not only did they want to show their women that they could take care of them, they want to show the white man that they could take care of their family. But these plantation overseers were seeing that they were falling behind, and these families were needing freedman bureau's aid. You know, it was increasing the aid they needed because now both people are not working anymore. It's just all on the brothers, right? Let me get a little more and we'll be done with it. I'll make my points, okay? It says that this is on page 168. It says, you will never see 3 million bales of cotton raised in South again unless the labor system is improved, predicted one Georgia man. 1/3 of the hands were women who now do not work at all. Planters, another explained, hiring 20 hands have to support on average 25 to 30 Negro women and children in idleness, as the freedmen will not permit their wives and children to work in the field. So these black brothers was trying to do their thing, not allow their wives to work in the fields. You know what I'm saying? Not like taking the idea that they've been seeing their whole lives that the mistress stays at home, the white woman, she stays at home, and the man, he goes to work, right? Let me keep going. It says, we cannot expect any change, fear the Alabama white, for it is a matter of pride with the men to allow exemption from labor to their wives, which encourages matrimony at a very early age among girls. So you see the dynamic of how our people was looking at white people and said, this is how we're going to pattern how we're going to live. The white man brings home the bacon, the woman stays home, and that's what we're going to do. But the planners seen that it was a struggle, on the brothers, it was kind of hard to do. Not only this, the planners, first of all, they're planners, they're ex-slave owners, right? So they're looking at what's being produced. Then they're looking at how hard it is for these people to get by because they're copying white people. They're trying to live the life that they have seen while they were slaves. And that the brothers, because of their pride, because of the pride they have, the pride, like I said, not only the pride in showing a white man that he can be a man, but the pride of saying, I can take care of my family by me alone. He's like, no, you can stay at home. You can stay at home, right? And also it said, because this also increased matrimony, meaning women would marry you if you're saying, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm a work in the fields and you can stay home. That would increase your chances of getting a woman, a wife, at a young age. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. Think about how Black people think today. We think this way today. Isn't that the conversation? I'm not going 50-50 with a man. He got to pay all the bills. Isn't that the conversation? Let me hear what y'all got to say. What y'all think? What's y'all thoughts? That's the conversation. And while y'all tap in, let me just say, we are a people that's been cut off virtually from everything we've ever known. But when, let's just say you go back to West Africa, the men and the women work. They're working the fields. They're not working the fields all day like slaves, but they're both doing something to sustain the family. You know what I mean? They're doing 100-100. They're not doing 50-50. They're doing 100-100, whatever that may be. We live in a place where the pressure is on you to perform and produce. And a lot of our people get caught up in the materialism and forget that sometimes you are blessed. You got the basic things of life, right? How I was talking about the foreigners that come here and set up shop and all they care about is, the basics. You got food, clothing, and shelter. Your kids is taken care of. Your kids don't got shoes with holes in them. You got some things to be really thankful for. But we live in a place where it's so much pressure to what's the word? What's the thing where they talk about live like the Jones? Somebody put it in the comments. Keep up with the Jones. Yeah, everybody's trying to keep up with the Jones. Everybody's trying to look a certain type of way. Yeah, you see people wearing, these designer fabrics and clothes that are really designed for, rich white people. You know what I mean? Now, think about what I just read, what was going on in 1865, 1866, how they recognized that the ex-slaves had been looking at white people while they were in slavery. And now that they were free, they decided to live how the white people they seen as an example. That's still going on today. That's still going on today. I'm bringing this out because I thought it was very interesting. I thought it was a cold dynamic that we need to really look at. We really need to look at that. You know what I mean? Let me see. Black Rain said, doing what it takes to support the family. Right. Young man Kev said, I grew up with my dad worked and my mother stayed at home and thought that was how you were supposed to do as the man of your home. Exactly. That's how we all thought. We all have that pressure, like, bring home the bacon. A man is supposed to bring home the bacon. He's supposed to, he's the provider. They say provider, they have to say provider, but that is the image of a man in America. It's just in America. That's the image of what a man really is that he goes to work, he takes care of his family. And now you have all of these people talking about how, men are so depressed and this is all your life is going to be, is going to work and coming home and getting no appreciation. Well, it's supposed to be a team effort. That's what it's supposed to be. Even the women in the Bible had a business. They always like to read that thing about the virtuous woman. Virtuous woman had a business. She literally had a business. They don't bring that out though. It's right there in their face, but they don't say that. She literally had a business and took care of her household at the same time. Now they complain about even being at home and having to go to work. You know what I mean? And my thing is whatever works for you. There's no clear plan, but our people are following something that is not sustainable for everybody. We're trying to follow a blueprint that wasn't sustainable for our people when they got out of slavery. What's sustainable for our people is whatever works in your household, whatever works for you. You know what I mean? Whether I'm bringing in $100 and my wife is bringing in $10, that is $10 I didn't have. $2 is better than, two people are better than one. Two incomes is better than one, right? Like, I don't know how we got caught up in that. Well, I do understand how we got caught up in that, but it just doesn't make sense to strain and stretch yourself out. Recently, I was at the gym. I've been in the gym the last 3 days, and I got a skier on my leg, on my foot. And I was like, dang, man, I'm gonna have to, I ain't gonna be able to work. If it's a real injury and the swelling doesn't go down, the pain doesn't go down, I'm not gonna be able to work. Then I'm not gonna be able to, then the money ain't gonna be coming in. What happens if you get injured? What happens if there's an accident? What happens when life happens? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't think like that. Two people are better than one, period. And even back then, those people recognize let's be real. They were slave owners. They recognize that them bales of cotton wasn't coming in. They wasn't producing the same amount. And they recognized the reason why. They said these women ain't working because they're trying to be like white women. This is not sustainable for Black people. It's not sustainable because we live in their world. Even today, you have a lot of brothers and sisters that are blessed. You got some brothers that are blessed with they hit every green light in life. They had a father. They went through school, they went through college, they got the perfect job that could provide, be able to, pay for everything and go on vacations to Dubai and all of that. But that is far and few in between. The average income of the Black household is around, I believe it's around 45,000. The average income of a Black man is between 40 and 50,000 average. Like, this stuff that people be talking about with relationships in the financial part, it's not sustainable. It's not even realistic. It's not reality. It's an illusion. It's the social media world. It's an illusion of what's really going on with our people. You know what I'm saying? We got bigger fish to fry. We should be thankful for right now that we even got shelter, clothing, and food. That's what we should be thankful that we got the basics, let alone trying to live a high, super high, crazy, high value life that is some idea in your damn head. Like, come on now. We got to wake up and like I said earlier when I started this live, Donald Trump and the things he's implementing right now is making a tight squeeze on resources, and it's gonna wake a lot of people up. Yeah. They ain't gonna be talking about 50-50 no more. They're gonna be talking about 2020. They ain't gonna be you know what I'm saying? It's gonna, when things get real and reality gets real, it's gonna be a big change. It's gonna be a big change. All right. I just thought that was cool to bring out, because I was like, dang, you see that today. Exactly what was going on back then, you see it today. You know what I mean? That same mindset, that idea. When we are people that have been cut off from our identity and we're trying to survive and live and sustain ourselves in a system that wasn't really created for us. And so that goes back to our identity and who we are. And if you want to keep it real, you want to go back to West Africa, they don't even get down like that. Everybody works. You know what I mean? This is just a thing that's only in America, right? It's not even in the Bible. You know what I mean? If you want to go that route. So I'm gonna talk about, oh, you got some people. This is another thing. This is another story. Now, I've been hearing, I come across a few people, and you got people, black people now, that are saying that slavery never happened. And I'm like, what? I was trying to understand, what do they mean by that? Black men and black women, you got them. They out there saying that slavery never happened. We were here first. There was no slave ships. Slavery never happened. That's a lie. And I'm like, when did this start? When did this philosophy start? When did this thing start where people are saying that slavery, black people saying slavery never happened, we were here first? So I had to look into it. And a lot of times the people are brothers and sisters that think that they believe that the indigenous, or, you know, as Native American Indians, indigenous First Nation peoples were black people, which is true. But they believe that we're all those people. The transatlantic slave trade never happened. And I'm like, this is kind of bugged out. Y'all got to be really bugged out. Somebody is smoking a lot of trees to believe that, with all of the evidence and information that's out there on the transatlantic slave trade. Like, why would you think that? You know? And from what I understand and what I know, what I can tell you, what I know, I can tell you about the North American Indians, what I do know, what I have researched and what I've studied. These people were Hebrews. When they went into the archaeology and they found different artifacts, their language written and inscribed was Hebrew. There's a Chief Joseph. In his possession, he had a cuneiform tablet. Anybody knows what a cuneiform tablet is? That's from Mesopotamia. That's from Babylon. That was the what they call the first language, cuneiform writing. When they deciphered it, it was a receipt for the sale of a lamb. Okay. They found the Bat Creek stone in Cherokee country that was in the bottom of a drawer in the Smithsonian Institute and sat there for years. And then somebody picked it up and they had been reading it upside down. It turned out to be ancient Hebrew. They found the Ohio Decathlon stone in Ohio mounds, Native Indian territory. It was deciphered to be the rendition of the 10 Commandments in Hebrew. So when you look at the Native American Indians and you look at the way they dress, their origin stories, none of them things point to them being just people that were just here. They're people that actually came from the East. There's a video with a woman named Navajo Grandma, where she talks about when she was a child, she was basically told that they were part of the 12 tribes of Israel, right? So when these black people say slavery never happened, we're all Native American Indians, I'm like, okay, if you have a direct line, if you have paperwork, when I say direct line, I mean paperwork, right? Or because most people, there's a lot of black people, especially in the South, that know their lineage, that are fortunate enough to know their lineage, and they can show you that they are actually Native American Indians. Yeah, I agree with that, but not all black people are Native American Indians. You got manifest. There's a database you can go and check out. It's called Slave Voyages database, where it has manifest of the slaves on the ships they got on and where they left from and where they came to. You got many memoirs written by people who lived it, by slave ship captains, by people who were enslaved, like Aladu Iqueno, came from West Africa to the West Indies, then to Virginia, then to Britain, got educated, then he wrote about his experiences. And he also wrote that the way he grew up was like exactly like in the Bible. He's from West Africa, got kidnapped by some other black tribe, and he say that the way he grew up was exactly like the Bible in the time of Moses. But the point is that where are they getting this from? You got black women. There's a National Geographic special with black women that they're a team that scuba dives looking for slave ships. They done found remnants of slave ships. It's just too much information for you to sit here and say that the transatlantic slave trade never happened. What are you smoking? I like to know what they're smoking, y'all. You know what I mean? Just stop all the cap, because that just shows you that these people are talking out the side of their neck and they're not actually doing no research or nothing. They're just going with this feeling that, yeah, we all was here. I agree that some black people that you think are black are really Native Indian. They might be Choctaw, Cherokee, whatever the case may be. I agree with that. But all of us, like, come on, man, 100 million in the transatlantic slave trade. All of us. I mean, knock it off. Knock it off. Anyway, now I want to talk about this Pastor Rickey Floyd. I had spoke about it and I didn't know the details, right? I didn't know exactly everything, but what I said the last time I spoke about it is that the Lord wasn't with him. I said, you're supposed to be this man of God. You're supposed to be a leader. How are you getting into an altercation or whatever you get into in the middle of the night? Why you don't have I didn't say what I'm trying to think of the word I used to say, like, okay, why whatever happened, you wasn't able to de-escalate the situation, And so here's this video. I'm gonna play this video and then we'll talk about it.
The shooting death of a beloved pastor and prominent leader in Memphis left plenty of people stunned, many asking, why would anyone kill Pastor Rickey Floyd? Well, tonight, only on News Channel 3, video showing a portion of what happened the night Pastor Floyd was shot to death. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Greg Hurst.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Skurlock. WREG has viewed the video provided to us by the attorneys of the woman charged with shooting Floyd. We have carefully considered the weight of what's shown and the sensitivity to all involved in this tragedy. But we also believe it's an important part of the story and one you deserve to see. Here's WREG investigator April Thompson.
Plenty of speculation surrounding the shooting of Pastor Rickey Floyd outside Mama's Bar and Kitchen March 12th. Phone video captured what appears to be some of the final moments of Pastor Floyd's life. It shows the Tahoe truck he is in putting on brakes, Pastor Floyd getting out, walking toward the person shooting the video as they yell to back up.
I'm backing back 3 times now. When I do that, back the up.
Then the video drops out. WREG sat down with the attorneys for Samantha Marion, charged with shooting Pastor Floyd to death. They say the video speaks for itself.
The video does not capture the gunfire that would have taken place probably maybe 3 or 4 seconds later, but it clearly shows him approaching her aggressively after being told several times to stop and that he should not be, walking up on her like that.
Keith Perry says his client, Samantha Marion, was behind the camera shooting the video, and it came after Marion and a man she had met that night got into a heated religion discussion with Pastor Floyd inside the bar. Perry says when everyone was leaving, Pastor Floyd walked toward Marion, and the man got between them.
He stands in front of Reverend Floyd. He's knocked to the ground by Reverend Floyd, and when he does, the back of his head hits the pavement, and he becomes a little stunned or dazed. Reverend Floyd then takes the telephone of Miss Marion, and he throws it to the ground, and he hurled a couple of insults or what have you, and then starts to walk off.
That's when he says Samantha Marion picks up her phone and starts videoing the license plate of the truck, since she had never met Floyd before. That's where the video picks up.
Whatever triggered him, he was upset with Mrs. Marion. He fought through 2 individuals to get to her, and watching him storm from the vehicle and approach her, it was clear that his intentions was definitely not to give her a hug and say, hey, let's work this out. But he had aggression in his heart and in his mind.
WREG acknowledges that this is only one piece of video from that night, and it does not include what police have described as Pastor Floyd holding his hands up and walking backwards away from Marion before falling to the ground. Out of respect for Pastor Floyd's family, WREG reached out to a family spokesperson.
So right there, that don't look good. That don't look good for, a pastor. People were speculating. A lot of people are angry at the woman. They were angry at her. No one really knew the facts anyway. But now video coming out and you see him, he get out that car like Suge Knight walking towards her. And it said that the argument was over religion. That was the argument. Was over that. So it's kind of crazy that, someone that is supposed to have the ability to de-escalate, supposed to have the ability to have self-discipline, discipline themselves in a situation like that, was not able to do none of that. And she popped him. You know what I mean? She popped him. And let me just tell you, like, this is something that you always see in the Christian church. You always see something happen that is so outrageous because people look at those people in them churches as though they are actually people of God, when they don't even know the scriptures or nothing like that. Church is really just like it's a place where people go and get get a feeling. They get a motivational speech, get some entertainment, some entertainment, a motivational speech. And that's really it. And that's why you see stuff like that, stories where, pastors have, been with men's wives or unalived them, someone they were messing with, or this situation right here, because that's just the nature of the place. You know what I mean? And you see in his eyes, he had that look in his eyes like B, if I get my hands on you, I'm gonna choke you out. I'm gonna do something to you. It cuts off, but they say once it cuts off, they say that like almost a second later is when the shots went off. And so it looks like it may be justified, and this is somebody that is a well-known in the community he's in. He's a pastor, he's on television and all of this stuff, but that don't mean nothing, y'all. That don't mean nothing. We done seen it time and time again. We done seen this play out too many times to be surprised. Nubian King said, this is a no-brainer. She warned him 3 times, like she told him, but he kept coming in a very aggressive manner. Therefore, she had to defend herself. He should have kept going home to his wife, bruh. I mean, you said it all. He was already in the vehicle. The vehicle was leaving. He stopped. I guess he stopped because he seen him in the mirror view, the rear view mirror, and they were recording, trying to get his license plate. So he stopped and got out again. That's that, like the brother said. That's that demon. That's that demon in his head. And you can't let a demon play you. And what I'm saying is, you got that, everybody has that thing in their head, that voice in their head that say, do it. Do it. Oh, this B got me effed up. Oh, this nigga ain't finna get over on me. I'm not finna let that slide. Everybody has that thing in their head that says do it. But you got to have the other thing in your head that says let it go. It's not that serious. Like Nubian King said, your wife is at home. Go home, brother. You done had too much to drink. Now, think of this. This is the last image. I don't know if he has kids or not, but this is the last image of the pastor that people will see. This is the last act of his life. A so-called man of God. This is the last act of his life. Being undisciplined. Being emotional over a conversation about religion, an argument about religion in a bar in the middle of the night. That's crazy. Like, I know what I'm saying. What I speak is the truth. And when I tell somebody, because I've done the research, I do not care if you agree with me or not. It don't matter to me. I'm not upset. You can't get me out off my square like that. Matter of fact, if I was drinking in a place like that, I'm really on point. My head is on a swivel because the way I grew up is I always expect something to pop off. So I see things like way ahead of time to de-escalate. I already know how to de-escalate. I already know a situation I don't want to be in. I already know that I don't even want to keep going. If I have to go back and forth with you, I want to cut that off right away. I'm not going to sit there and argue with no woman. Not saying like woman or man. I'm not going to sit there and go back and forth at a bar where people are getting drunk and where so many things is going on. So much stuff is going on in places like that. People are supposed to be there for fun. You're supposed to be there to enjoy yourself and have a good time. So if somebody is on that type of time, if the energy got to go there, then I don't even want to entertain it. And so he had an opportunity. His opportunity was the first time when he was in that truck and he was rolling off. That opportunity left the minute he put the brakes on and hopped out that truck and started walking back towards that sister. Renee said they go to church to get a quick fix. Nubian King said he did not practice what he teach. He should have been home reading that Bible and preparing sermon for the next week, not at a bar eatery arguing about religion. Church is an entertainment center. You are so right about that. Call a church a day club instead of a nightclub. The same thing goes on inside the building like a club, dancing, shouting, running, screaming, drums, organs. Exactly. It is a place of entertainment. It is a place of entertainment. Exactly. I'm not going to sit there if I have a disagreement, but I don't think that will ever happen because I'm not talking to women like that. You know what I'm saying? Like at a bar about religion. Now, if she asks me what I'm about, she say, "What? Oh, I see that on your arm. I see your," and I start to explain to her, and then she disagree. Okay, well, that's fine. Turn around and go back about my business. I don't care. I don't care if you don't agree with me. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter to me. But you're gonna sit there and argue with a woman, then you putting hands. I guess a man got in between them and he put hands on a dude. And so now the woman has to defend herself. You done stopped the car and now you coming towards her. She thinking you gonna knock her upside the head like you knocked the brother upside the head. And he just got what he had coming, I guess. That's how I see it. You always have an opportunity though to de-escalate and turn the page on any altercation that could go left. You always have the opportunity. You just gotta seize it. You gotta be disciplined enough to recognize something that's trying to play you. And my advice to brothers and sisters out there, because our people are always in situations, always in altercations. My advice to you is don't get played. Don't play yourself. Don't play yourself. A lot of things are not worth it, especially when you have a family, you have children, you have a wife, you have a lot of things going on for yourself, and you're going to play yourself over a meaningless argument. Come on now. Come on, man. Yeah. So now what I want to talk about is the Big U situation, right? Big U, what the next day was Yellow Beezy that got locked up for allegedly for the murder of Mo 3. And then the day after, which was yesterday, Sauce Walker, these are rappers, right? He got shot at. Him and one of his artists. His artists got unalived, right? And I think he got hit like 2 times or something like that. I want to talk about that. Nubian King, listen, Nubian King, I mess with you because you up in here like you in class. You said, like you said earlier, this is when he should have turned the other cheek. Exactly, Nubian King. That is a prime example of turning the other cheek. And that's why the pastor didn't know that. Because they're not in the truth. They don't really know the Bible like that. What they know is, Christian theology, what was taught to them by white people on the plantation. And now when you look at a black church, they're just recycling what they had learned years ago, and it's been passed down generations. So it's Christian theology. It has nothing to do with what's actually in there. You know what I mean? But good looking out, Nubian. I see you. I see you for real. That's a prime example of turning the other cheek. He should have let that thing go. And like you said, been somewhere studying, getting ready for his sermon, or getting prepared to say the same thing he said 3 Sundays ago. You know what I mean? He had an opportunity to let it go after he had already not, beat up a dude. Let me remove this. 1 second. Yeah. So with the situation with Big U he's been hit. It's not just Big U. It was a lot of people that's been hit, right, with the RICO charges. And they're saying Big U was running his thing like the mafia. Now, I never knew who Big U was until the death of Nipsey Hussle. That's when I started to hear about Big U, because people were saying, oh, he had something to do with it and things of that nature. But Big U was supposed to be doing things in the community as far as working with the youth, through sports and things of that nature. And for what I understand, Big U was getting like $500,000 for his program from the city of Los Angeles. They were giving him like $500,000 to go into his youth programs, $500,000 a year, So he got picked up, and what they're alleging is, they're alleging murder, they're alleging trafficking, they're alleging mafia style crimes behind the scenes. Now, I seen where they were interviewing a brother that has another organization that said that he works with the youth, and he was saying like it was a surprise to him because he knows him real good, because they work with the youth, And from what it looks like is that Big U, what I forgot to say about Big U is that he is the leader of the Rolling 60s Crips, right? That's what I forgot to say. Let me just put that out there. So So working with the youth is a big deal with somebody that is a leader in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And so when this all comes out, it came out, it's starting to look like Big U was doing all of this dirt and all of this grimy stuff, this mafia style stuff behind the scenes. Whereas in front of the cameras and in the limelight, you know, he's better in the community, better in his family, working with the youth and doing all these good things. And so it's like, man, how do we think, especially us brothers and sisters, we're grown. How do you think you can do in this time and age, right? You can do things like what he was doing. And on the other side, in front of the cameras, do all of the positive stuff and think that's going to be, you know, a good ending. Like, we're too old. And I'm going to say brothers be too old in the streets and in that mentality to think that there's anything beneficial that's going to come out of that. It's nothing beneficial that's going to come out of that. You know what I'm saying? Nothing can come out of that. And I'm not talking tough. This is real life. This is like, what can really come out of you murdering people, hurting people? All of this stuff is alleged. Like, but what can really come out of that except more of the same? More of the same. Like, what can really come out of you, running something like that? And when we were growing up, because I grew up out here in the IE, I'm very familiar with gang banging, you know what I'm saying? But we were growing up, when it came to gang banging, it was kind of like, it's attractive in one way. Gang banging is attractive, like it draws you in, you know what I'm saying? But that's anything. Like, if you're young and as you're growing up, you're impressionable, anything, sports will draw you in. If you're around the right thing, it will draw you in. And gang banging, what I used to see was it never made sense to me, right? As a young person, I always thought different. I thought different all the time. But I had my experiences growing up, which turned me off. One of the things that turned me off as a youngster, right, is that I had grown, I was a child. I was like 7, 8 years old. And I had a grown man bang on me because I had a red Jumpman shirt on. And I'm in a neighborhood where it's Crips. You know what I'm saying? I got banged on by a grown man. Like, why the F you got that shirt on? Go change your shirt. So as I'm growing up, I'm looking at it like, damn, why would a grown man get at me like that? I don't care about none of this stuff. I'm a kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm a kid. Like, so that never made sense to me in that way. Like, damn, like, it's like that. But I understand a lot of brothers and sisters are born into it. You're born into it. Your mama from a hood, your daddy from a hood. And so it's hard to see outside of it. It's hard to see yourself out doing something different. It's the only thing you know. You know what I'm saying? I understand that. But I was turned off at a young age from gang banging, you know what I'm saying? And then all the things you would see and hear. Like, hell, I grew up with the ghetto bird. Anybody know what the ghetto bird is? I grew up being up under the ghetto bird lights as a kid. You know what I'm saying? I grew up going to school in the morning and we hear, oh, so such and such dad got shot last night. I grew up like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, boys in the hood is how we grew up. You know what I mean? But I was one of those people that I wasn't attracted to it like that. Had family, Crips and blood, but it just didn't attract me like that because of the negative experiences that turned me off. And I always looked at it like it don't make no sense because I see the ending of it. I see what the end is for it. It's nothing that's good that's going to come out of it. Now, when I talk about that, now let's put that to the side. Now, this situation, you got someone that's older, and they used to always talk about the OGs. Well, in the gang culture, the OGs ain't nothing. The OGs don't, help don't guide the younger men. or tell them not to do that, they send them on missions. You know what I mean? The OGs are still trying to be like the YNs. The OGs is trying to be young. You know what I'm saying? The OGs is still trying to gangbang. And so I understand where it comes from, where how it started, like protecting our community from the police, but it's just done got me manipulated and destroyed. And now it's all about hating your brother. And that's what it seems Big U was doing, hating his brother and being a hypocrite. And a lot of us look back and we're on the outsides and we look at all kinds of situations with our people, and we know people that are grimy and doing dirt, and we say, well, like, how is it that a person like that can just prosper? A person like that can just, they can just, keep living, and, nothing happened to them, and it's the good people that something happens to. Well, just remember that people like that, their time is coming. Their time is coming. And you see that happen with Big U. They even talked about them wiretapping conversations. And I'm like, these people, they've been wiretapping people since the 60s, wiretapping, like, landlines. Now we have cell phones. They can tap into anybody's cell phone anytime they want to. They can look at you through your cell phone if they want to, if you're on their radar. I'm keeping it a buck with you. That's the type of technology they got right now. Y'all, I know y'all watch those shows, those murder shows where they can ping, see where your phone was pinging at. They can listen to anybody's conversation. So they're, they making drug deals and allegedly making drug deals and doing this and all that on the phone. You know what I mean? And thinking that these things won't come to the light. And at the end of the day, man, brothers just gotta grow up. That goes into that Yellow Beezy situation. A lot of you young brothers, I'm talking to the YNs, a lot of you young brothers are y'all just trucks, y'all just crashing out, y'all just doing stuff to fit in. But this is the end. Like all that tough talk and rapping on the videos and yapping what you gonna do, what you see with Big U and his associates, what you see with Yellow Beezy, what you see with, Sauce Walker, all of that, that's the end result of it. That's the end result. Let that be a lesson to you. Let that tell you, man, maybe I need to get a trade. Maybe I need to leave the hood and relocate with one of my family members that live in some boring town so that I can get my mind together and so that I can make something of myself, that I could be a better man. You know what I mean? Now, what I will say is this. I'm not demonizing brothers and sisters that are in that life. You gang banging. I understand. We all were once like on a level of being ignorant and doing things that no one was telling us, listen, you keep going down this road, it's not going to be good for you. Many of us was on a road like that. You know what I mean? And how I look at brothers and sisters, really brothers that are in the streets, gang banging, those brothers are warriors. You understand? Those brothers are needed in their community. You understand? No different than the brothers that are successful and they playing professional sports. They're warriors too. You know why both of them are alike? Because when people like me start talking, brothers like and sisters like you start talking and start talking about on a conscious level and things we need to change and things we need to let go, those type of people won't even hear us. They're from two different spectrums. One is successful, but when we say, we should segregate, they won't hear us. And when we say to the gangbangers, you got to learn how to forgive your people. You got to learn how to let some things go. They won't hear us either. But both of them would be beneficial if we could all come together, because these are both warriors. These are strong men that just don't know no better. He may have millions of dollars. He may have a NFL contract, but he's still silly in the head. He's still making bad decisions. He's still hitting a wall, even with millions of dollars. The same as with this brother in the hood. He's still hitting the wall. He has it in him to do better, but the environment that he's around won't allow him to. You got to break up out of that. You know what I'm saying? But the point is this, right? I think I said the point is that this is the end result of all that, you know, of gang banging, of being the hardest nigga on the block, of being the toughest nigga on the block, of talking the toughest and having the most guns. When you look at Big U and everybody in the Rolling 60s and his associates in that Rico case, and you look at Yellow Beezy and you look at Sauce Walker, that is the end result of all that street shit. And so for a brother, if you're on that type of time, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. I'm letting you know right now, you can change. You can do something different. You can think outside of the box. You don't have to be like everybody. You could be yourself. Hey, shout out to everybody that's been rocking with me. Let me see the comments. My mom and dad and stepdad all from the Blood Gang in LA, and I'm happy they did not see me fit to be put on. That's right. That's right. I know this is garbage out of our young cats mentality, effed up. This is why these racist record owners and producers got rid of conscious rap and the real R&B music. This ain't music, it's pure killer garbage. That's right. That's right. And you know, man, that conscious music doesn't get any play because we know who runs these record companies. They put that like you said, that self-destructive music, they'll push it. And there is so many brothers and sisters that are talented. And you got to ask yourself, why is they always putting up somebody, they propping somebody up as the next big thing? And you looking at it like, this is garbage. What's that girl name? With the carrot top girl? I forget her name. But she's like one of the sexy red types. But everybody's like, her music is garbage, but you see her everywhere, plastered everywhere. Sexy Red, see her everywhere, plastered everywhere. The drill music, it's all trash, you know what I mean? But there's so many brothers and sisters out here that has talent and skills that are talking about real things and real issues. And you have to ask yourself as a black person, why do they just put this on the radio? Why they don't put these people? Why these people can't get the contract? These people are not in your radar. They're not on television. They're not on TV. They're not on social media. They don't have record contracts because they were the best. They have them because they were chosen to do that. They put these people, they prop these people up. Newman King, you could take a black man out of it, but you can't take the ghetto out of them. Look how these grown ball players fight each other at these slave sporting games. Kamal's Bob said, Kev, okay, yeah. Ice Spice. That's the girl. The girl could not rap. She still can't rap, but she's half naked. If they half naked, I guess that qualifies them, right? Can't put two words together in a sentence, but you qualify. You can't, you know, we'll take you. They gonna look at you just because you're half naked, right? Yeah, but anyway, man, I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. Let me just run it down real quick because, you know what I'm saying, this was a cool little live. Trooper Anaquadam, appreciate you. Renee Gaines, I appreciate you. Always rocking with me. Black Rain 303, you always rocking. Always. Karl Maz Boff, thank you for tuning in. Nubian King rocking with me. I appreciate your, you know, your angle and your perspective. Thank you for rocking with me. Young Man Kev all the time. Black Dazzle all the time. You know what I mean? My main ones. Yeah, so I'm going to get up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all for, you know, taking the time out your Sunday. You could be chilling, doing whatever you want to do, but you was rocking right here with me, Thawahgabar on Black Authentic Truth, all right? Y'all stay safe. I love y'all. Stay out the way. Get some rest for the start of the week. I'm up out of here. Peace.
you.